When we utilize the Tria Formula for our clients, it typically identifies that clients would appreciate or benefit from some exposure to the equity markets. And we call that slice of the formula, if you will, core. So in the core arena, we're allocating some of their portfolio to equities, stocks, and historically we would say bonds. Bonds are typically used as part of a portfolio to mitigate volatility. They historically didn't operate in concert with the equity markets. Challenges at this stage of the game is after 30 years of declining interest rates, there's a concern going forward we're going to have escalating interest rates, and that can cause some principal erosion for people that own bonds only. So although we speak about an equity bond portfolio in the core arena, a lot of times we're using bond alternatives, other types of assets that generate income and typically don't correlate directly with the equity market. But the strategy in core, I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I've probably visited 1,000 different portfolio managers, and usually consumers find when they meet with a financial advisor, there's some bells or whistles or something about how they manage their core portfolio, and certainly we have a perspective on how we do that, but I'm not going to argue that necessarily over a 5 or 10 year period, there isn't typically that much differentiation between top performers and bottom. Short period of time maybe, but long term, it's really just gaining adequate exposure there and making sure you're doing at least equivalent or hopefully superior to whatever benchmark you identified. Our strategy has been to utilize exchange-traded funds, ETFs. They're very inexpensive, and they give us an opportunity to give exposure to very broad markets. So the diversification impact using an ETF is very substantial. In addition, we'll do some trades using option trades around those ETFs, because that allows us an opportunity to hedge the portfolio. So when broad markets decline 8 or 10%, the option hedges probably knock off 2 or 3% of that loss. Similarly, when we have markets that are relatively flat, we've been in recent years a period where the market goes up and down and up and down, and from the beginning of the year to the end, it's maybe no return or small positive, small negative. Those types of flat markets or sideways markets, because of the volatility, allow you to do some option trades that will add some positive return. Now, we also aren't limited to what Silverhawk does within the core portfolio. We have access to 100 sub-advisors, and we strategically infiltrate them into the portfolio based on, again, what the client's goals and objectives are, and that will also serve to mitigate risk and reduce volatility. So we can typically get an enhanced overall return with lower risk than what the client would receive if they were just dealing with one portfolio manager. And in that portfolio manager selection, we get access to alternative or hedge funds as well. So working with about 20 firms in the Northeast that have specific idiosyncrasies to help hedge a portfolio. And I think it's important for clients to understand the term hedge fund. You know, it's an alternative to the equity markets that typically does well when equity markets do not do well. So when you've got periods of time where the market has 6 or 8 years of upside positive, hedge funds probably aren't going to do very well. And we'll minimize our exposure to that, but we'll accelerate the exposure when we've got a period where we're anticipating the equity markets might be more of a bear type of market.